The amount of technology that exists and the capability that is at our fingertips is mind-boggling. With AI, the ability to do things within your business or have an employee who can do things or get things for a lower cost or a higher speed has increased tenfold. The amount of times that Danielle and I have been at one of these events and looked at each other and gone, accidentally rich. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cheer Biz Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Cotton, and today we are diving into the fact that you really don't know anything and why it is important that you get learning. Now, before we get into the episode, make sure you are in Cheer Gym Owners on Facebook and All-Star Cheer Coaches and Owners. You're in both of those groups if you are a coach or a coach and owner. Owners only in the Cheer Gym Owners group. And if you're interested in learning more about the Next Gen Academy and how we can help you on your educational journey as a business owner, you've got to check out nextgenowners.com, or you've got to come to one of our Cheer Biz Accelerator events. They're going to be absolutely amazing. We are opening the doors of our businesses and allowing people to come to our gyms for 2 days of learning and training. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and you're not going to want to miss it. Now, let's get into the episode and where this all came from. So why I'm saying that you don't really know anything as a business owner and where I'm coming from with this. So before recording this episode, I was driving to the gym. I had a million things going on, and I was listening to a podcast, as I do in the car very frequently. And as I'm listening to this podcast, I'm quite literally listening to my business mentor who has a podcast, laying out his framework for something he just released. And I will tell you, he released it on Wednesday, and I engaged with it right away. And I was going through the process, and I was like, this is gold. And then he did a video on why he created it the way he did and how he did it. And I'm sitting there listening to this going, oh my God, like this is genius. Like, I didn't know any of these things really. I mean, I maybe knew like the tip of the iceberg, but he was walking through how he's launching his next book and how he's using affiliate marketing for the book launch and the way and the structure that he did it. And it was just absolutely amazing. And I was like, well, I signed up actually to be an affiliate and try and get people to come to the launch because of the things that he did. And I'm like, man, this is just genius. And here I am, and I relatively consider myself an expert in running a cheer business. But in the reality of business and what people do know out there and the things that you can do, I was like, man, I'm like a level 2 business owner. You know, I'm not level 1, but I'm not level 6 for sure. Like, I've got so much room for growth. And I appreciate those of you that listen to the podcast and are here along the journey with me as I've learned over the years. But man, there's just so much to learn. There's so many things, and especially right now. So I want to dive into some of the things that you may not know about and why it isn't so important that you start your learning right now. And it's so important right now because, you guys, everything is changing. Things are changing faster than we can keep up. The only time we've seen anything like this was when Facebook first became a thing with business, and it really, really grew in popularity, and like Facebook, social media marketing, that kind of exploded onto the front. We've not seen anything like that until now. And yes, I know I've talked about it on a bunch of podcasts before, but with AI, even if you're not mastering AI and leveraging it too greatly, with AI, the ability to do things within your business or have an employee who can do things or get things for a lower cost or a higher speed has increased tenfold. I mean, it is absolutely insane. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that exist right now And it definitely has some limitations and some reasons why we just really know nothing. So it's so important to start learning now, because if you can start to learn these things, even if you only know a little bit, when this takes off even further and it is like a game changer, if you don't have these things, you can't function in business, you're going to have a knowledge base that other people don't have because they ignored the signs. So you need to start learning, you need to start leveraging or finding resources to learn for you. This is a great opportunity to say, hey, employee, there's this new thing and I want you to learn everything about it. Now, the risk is anytime you do that with an employee is if they leave, you lose their expertise. But let's dive into some of the things that I think we as an industry don't know anything about and why it's so important that we start learning. So number one is lead nurture. We are really horrible in small business in general, and especially in the cheer industry, which is even worse because it's a service industry at our lead nurture. And I'll be honest, I know just enough to be dangerous at lead nurture. So I have been working on my lead nurture processes, and what I started with, which I actually started doing it first with dream camps and trying to nurture leads because we're a national brand. And so I don't have as much relationship and I'm not in the community. There's a little less credibility. And so I knew I was marketing to a much wider audience and I really needed to nurture my leads. I needed to engage with them. I needed to be able to send people text messages when they opted in. I needed to be able to retarget people when they clicked on my ads. I needed to be able to track their journey and see how many times they interacted with me. I needed to be able to chat with them on my website. I needed to be able to do all of these different things to nurture my leads and grow them into becoming paying customers, because I'm truly going to a very cold audience that is not warmed up to knowing camps. And that's where I started. And then I've now grown that, and we've been really working on something within NextGen and creating a platform for you to manage lead nurture and customer management. And the difference that it's making in people's businesses is astounding. Like if you've ever been in that position where you're like, man, how do these guys respond to something so quickly? How do they get an email and I'm getting a phone call right away, or I'm getting a text message right away? How do they have that even set up? I don't even know how to do that. These are the systems that do it. They start to give you the tools to play like the big dogs do, without the high cost of having an entire team behind you. It's pretty impressive. And most of us know nothing. Like if you're listening to this, you're probably listening and going, lead nurture. I kind of know what that means just from the concept of lead nurture, but I don't understand what that process looks like, what it looks like to go from a completely cold lead and nurturing them into being a warm lead, nurturing them continually into being a hot lead, converting them to being a customer, then converting them over to actually being like a higher paid customer, upgrading them throughout the funnel. Like you haven't looked at that from a holistic picture. And it's something that we don't do in the cheer industry as much. What I see is us posting, hey, I need to grow my all-star program. Well, what are your funnels? How is your lead nurture? All that stuff. People are like, I put out a flyer that we have all-star cheerleading. And that can be great. In certain communities, it can absolutely crush. But lead nurture is always valuable. And most of us know very, very little about it, and very little about what the technology that exists and how it can help us, how we can leverage technology to save us time, save us energy, and be able to have touch points with every person who shows interest in your business. I'm actually continually amazed when I log into my system and I see the amount of people that have opted in for things and received text messages and emails and follow-ups. And even though people unsubscribe, and even that just tells me that I need to work on the process, or I need to work at what kind of leads I'm getting and capturing. But there's so much value in that. And it's so impressive what the technology can do. And we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg, really. We haven't even go down deep into it. There's so much you can be doing in lead nurture, and it's something you need to be learning about. So if you don't know what that is a knowledge gap for you as a business owner. And unfortunately, you either need someone who is a head of marketing and customer relations, or you need to learn it as a business owner. I don't recommend contracting out for things like this in terms of actually you can definitely utilize softwares and you can utilize education, but just be, a company that markets the ability to do the lead nurture for small businesses and like all done for you, you don't have to do anything. I don't recommend those kind of companies because I've just had very low returns on it. It's very hard to do. To be good at lead nurture, there has to be a personal touch. It has to be from you. It is going to be an ever evolving thing that you need to constantly be updating. So if you're not doing it right, it won't work at all. Number 2 is technology, right? Most of us know technology. We know our computer, we know our laptop, we maybe know how to utilize a website, maybe, but I would say industry-wide websites are pretty lacking. If they are decent looking, they oftentimes are not nearly as effective as they should be. What most people want on their websites is actually the things that detract people from engaging with your brand. When you have overly complex, overly image heavy, lots of animations and all sorts of crazy things going on your website, it's actually a distraction and it decreases the amount of people that stay on your site. So actually the simple, proven websites that look like what people are expecting for a website are more likely to get you customers, more likely to get people to stay on because it feels familiar. People feel comfortable. They know how to navigate the standard website. When you have a complex website that is very custom to you, it can oftentimes feel very foreign to a new customer, and they're less likely to stay on your site because they don't know where to go. People don't like to feel uncomfortable. So even just website, but the amount of technology that exists and the capability that is at our fingertips is mind-boggling. So for instance, with dream camps, I've always had organizational challenges because it's hard to manage thousands of kids. And when we do our camps, we have customized schedules. So each team has its own schedule at camp. Like they're rotating and working with this instructor for stunts, and they're working with this instructor for pyramids and this instructor for tumbling. And they're going around, and that's different than another team, even if it's from the same program. And so we've always spent a lot of time in Google Sheets, and we then make Canva documents. So they look super pretty, but then we have to print things. But then when there's an error, we now have it printed. And it just became there where we tried so many different techniques. And then we also have games that athletes play, and there's scoring, and there were challenges with that, pen and paper, but then you lose the paper, someone forgets it, or notes in phones. We nominate kids for All-American throughout camp. We have private lessons for our individuals. There are a million moving pieces for our camp, and we've always managed it manually. This year, I learned about the technology, and it's an AI-based technology that allowed me to build an app. And it's something I've been working on since I found out about it. Again, this was a podcast. I heard it on a podcast, and I was like, I'm going to go check that out. That sounds kind of cool. And I started building this app. And I literally just started with the idea of, I want to build an app to track my game competitions and the scoring. I just wanted to solve that problem. And then that now grew and has grown into an app where I have my schedules, I have my rosters, I can nominate kids for All-American, my staff can access it, the programs can access it. It has turned into this very robust, yes, full of bugs right now because I'm still working on it and figuring it out in my free time, but there's so much that I can do. And if I hadn't been seeking out knowledge and I wasn't willing to take the risk and experiment and contribute the time to building this thing, I never would have learned how to do it. There are just so many things that we don't even know. And there's so many different solutions out there that can save us hours and hours of time. Now, am I dedicating a lot of time to it right now? Yes. The goal being that next year, it saves me a ton of time because I just have to now build my schedules in the correct template. And then I upload the template and everyone has access to their schedules. My staff have access to their schedules. I can score all my games. Everyone can see everything. It's full transparency. It's amazing. It's going to be fantastic. Are there going to be hiccups? Yes, absolutely. Were there tons of hiccups with my Google Sheets and Google Docs and notes and all those different things? Absolutely as well. So you can utilize all these technologies that exist to solve the systemization problems I mentioned on the last podcast about how you need to get really good at systems. There is technology that can help you solve these problems. And most of us don't even know that it exists. We don't even know that these solutions are out there. And if you don't know about them, you can't utilize them. And even if you're not capable of utilizing them, you might have a kid, an employee, a staff member who is capable of messing with these things and figuring them out and building something really, really cool for you. So you've got to always be learning. You've got to always be consuming content more than just my podcast. I try to tell you guys about some of these things, but I can't tell you about all of them. So I'll tell you full transparency. The app that I'm using, it's called Replit. It's the Replit app, and you talk to it like ChatGPT to build your app. It's crazy what it can do. Now, you do have to pay for it. There is an expense to it. So don't think I'm telling you to sign up for it unless you really, really want to. But these are things that exist. And I'm building the app that I'm building. I would be willing to bet money would have cost me more than $50,000 to build. And I'm probably going to build it for less than $1,000 total in what I'm going to end up paying in credits and usage fees to utilize this app. So it's so cool what is out there. And this is why I'm saying most of us know nothing. We don't even know the things that exist that can make our lives so much easier. On top of that, the other thing I mentioned, I've talked about it before, how I go and get consulting from other businesses. Or other business consultants, one of the things we learned about was a sales process. And I consider myself pretty good at sales, but learning the sales process that they use to train their salespeople was mind blowing. I had never thought about approaching it the way that they do. And it totally made sense why their sales team was completely dialed in, why they were crushing sales, why they were able to sell things at a price point that would have made anyone else blush. They're able to sell this and sell it day in and day out and make sale after sale after sale. Like, it is crazy to learn what they're doing and learn the different techniques. We often are stuck kind of in a industry standard, we've all kind of figured it out on our own. And I'm not saying that there aren't smart people in the industry. There are. There's a lot of things that I figured out on my own that now I've gone and had confirmed at business conferences. Yeah, that's the right way to be doing it. And you guys, I'll tell you the honest truth. I've met business owners, the amount of times that Danielle and I have been at one of these events and looked at each other and gone, accidentally rich. The amount of people that they just start a product and they really don't know what they're doing, and they're making 19 millionaires that we can point out and be like, yeah, that's not great. Your website's pretty weak. This system is bad. These are things that are holding you back. And they're still like, yeah, we did, 8 million in sales last year, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, sometimes you're doing 8 million in sales and you still have $1 million in loss if you ever watch Shark Tank. But like, there are so many things that we as an industry don't know how to do within business. And there are so many solutions out there. So what I'm talking about is why you've always got to be learning, and it doesn't have to be paid. You don't have to pay for it. I think it can be way better to pay for it. And I'll tell you why here in a second. It can be way better to pay for it, but the YouTube University, like, there is so much content on YouTube. All of my podcasts are on YouTube. People can go and watch them and learn and get the same experience they're having. And all of the podcasts I listen to are on YouTube. Much of the business stuff that I implement in my business is implemented from free podcasts or books that at most cost me $29. Like, some of my favorite books, this book that is coming out will probably be next on the list of favorite books from a business perspective, have been game changing. In fact, the very first book that they wrote, I was reading poolside while Tori and I were on vacation. And the guys in Jamaica were always like, oh, why are you working? And I'm like, because this is fun for me. Like, I love learning this stuff. I think it's really interesting. And so I enjoy it. And I had a drink in my hand. Like, come on. I'm still having a beverage and I'm reading a book. Leave me alone. I'm not reading a book about murder like Tori is. I'm reading a book about, how to improve my offer and grow my clientele. So anyways, I digress. You can be learning from very reasonable resources. Now, I will tell you why. I've mentioned it before. I'll tell you why I think paid is a better route. And I saw a comment recently where someone had mentioned that they appreciate the free stuff that we provide, but they don't love the push that we have to take that, like, you can't be successful without next gen coaching. You can be totally successful without next gen coaching. So let me just say that on the forefront. I've met successful gym owners that were never a part of what we do. However, I think you can get there faster if you have a coach who's been there and done that in your corner. I think that is much better. Additionally, why do I think that a paid route or a guided route, which you're probably going to have to pay for, is better? It's because as I was listening to this video, which was blowing my mind. So I'm listening to a video and I'm driving, but I listen to all my podcasts on YouTube. So I wasn't watching it. Trust me, I'm not using my phone while I'm driving. I'm listening, but I now have to take the process that he described. So he was breaking down his process for using affiliates to promote his book launch and exactly how he built it out and presenting it as like, this is a model that you can use in your business. But he wasn't saying this is the model to use in your business. He was saying this is an example. And then you have to then take that information and take this model example. And now you have to backwards engineer how that imprints into your business. The nice thing about paying someone to teach you these things with expertise in your business is they can tell you exactly the steps with maybe a few little, hey, we have to tweak this and that for the specialness of your facility, your staff, your clientele. Like there are things you're going to have to change for the uniqueness of your business, but you're not going to have to do all of that work. So I'm listening to this and going, man, this is super cool. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be, if I were to stand this up for promoting any of my 3 businesses, this would be probably a 2-day project with a team to like figure out how we're going to do this. Worthwhile doing, yes, but he's giving me a map, right? When you get stuff like that, you get a map and you get a generalized, hey, you need to go from, Portland, Oregon, and you need to get to New York City. Okay, you can see these 2 points on the map. They're pretty much straight across. That's what you're going to do. Well, unfortunately, it's not a straight line. There's a lot of zigs and zags and turns. And by having someone who has done it specifically within your industry, that is someone who has the directions and can make things a lot smoother for you. So that's why I think that it is better to pay for services and get a coach. I think it is advantageous. And I'm going to never be ashamed about saying that because I think we do some pretty amazing stuff. I also am willing to pay for it myself. I put my money where my mouth is, quite literally, and I get coaching on my business from people who are smarter than me. And yes, sometimes the people that are smarter than me are like 27 years old. It's crazy, some of the things that these kids know. Now, they may not be an expert in everything, but the things that they're experts in, man, it's impressive. They can give you so much information. And again, it's one of those things where I'm like, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that you could do that within business or that you could take that approach. So wherever you're at, my one request leaving the episode is find more free resources to utilize. Like find more opportunities, more books, more podcasts, more people to listen to that have really great ideas. You got to find people that resonate with you and fit what it is you're doing in your business. So avoid like the crypto bros or some of those things that are going to give you weird financial advice. Be cautious of those, but people are going to give you business strategies and tactics. There are some really good people out there. So take a listen, put your feelers out there, look at other industries, look cheer adjacent. So other youth sports, fitness is another great area to look. A lot of our similarities come from like fitness gyms, CrossFit gyms, functional fitness, those kind of things. There's a lot of similarities there. And those are a lot of the people that I do listen to. Check those things out. I will probably post at some point in time an affiliate link to sign up for the book launch for this book. I am going to do that because there's actually some cool rewards. And if I am high enough in the affiliate rankings, actually, I would have the opportunity to take your questions and then go to their headquarters and sit down and ask those questions with another group of like 9 other top affiliates. Do I think I'll get there? I don't know, but I'll be posting some stuff. So keep your eye out for that affiliate link. And it just is an invite to go to the book launch where they're going to give you some great knowledge, talk to you about the things that are in the book. It's a virtual book launch. So it just requires you to get on a Zoom. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so that is why I think a lot of us know nothing and don't often admit it to ourselves. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'm getting ready to go to camp. It is the 4th of July tomorrow. So if you are a US-based listener, happy 4th of July. If you're a Canadian-based listener, happy late Canada Day. And I hope you are all having a wonderful summer and a wonderful start to your season. And with that, we will catch you on the next episode.